to Ferriphobe Campaign 2, Episode 46. My name is Semelander, I'll be your GM, and I have some players.
My name is Zerda, playing Lumi, the Circle of Stars Druid.
Hello, I am Leopard, playing Zari, the giant barbarian.
I am Inter, I'm playing Crier, the fast monk.
And I'm Ashes, and I play Ibrakeet the Wizard.
Unfortunately, a couple of our players could not make it here today, but hopefully we'll be able to catch them up once we're done.
They are here with us in spirit.
Yeah, they're here in spirit. Last time, you guys arrived at the city of Vali, which is the nominal capital city of the Feyan Badlands. After spending some time buying some maps and exploring the town a little bit, you spent the night in the Color Animal Inn. And the next morning, you crossed over the river bridge to the castle ward, where you were interrupted on the bridge before actually entering the castle ward, giving your paperwork over to the guard. You were then led to the castle to be introduced to the name of the NPC, who I've just completely blanked on. Bitra. And upon arriving at the actual castle gate, your weapons were confiscated, as well as any extra dimensional storage that you had on hand. And then you were led by Iris, I think is what I'm going to go with, into the castle, into a very confusing hallway, at which point she stepped into a blank wall, and then returned after a little bit, opened a door, and let you guys into the waiting room of the Lord Bitra. Upon entering the Bitra's actual office, you see the same scene that was in the waiting room, on a window behind her. On one side, you have a long sword, or great sword, Flamberg great sword. On the other side, a great axe, both attached to the wall, but not permanently, as in they are hanging from hangers. They are not like welded or somehow like permanently attached to the wall. And before you, the opened letter from Julik sits before you, and she takes a long look over the group of you, and eyes you up and down, and says, "This is quite the tale that Lord Julik has woven here." He speaks of destruction that we have that we can verify, or has been verified. Monsters falling from the sky that we experienced ourselves. Why are you here? He says you're here to find his daughter, but why are you actually here?
Yes, ma'am. We are the Lights of Miiva, originally an adventuring group from Haifa. We had helped reestablish the settlement of Miiva before the incident that happened to Haifa occurred. We actually know what caused the the destruction of Haifa. It was a ritual uh, by a cult that had some adventurers and the head and the guard commander Georgie as part of the conspiracy. We have before we talked to the Lord of Ava previously, uh, we had done reconnaissance inside the remains of the city of Haifa and discovered um, four large pits that lead deep down into the earth, and we have discovered that they are slowly growing magically over time, and we have come to Volley in order to uh, pool the resources of all the cities of uh, of Fayen in order to try to solve the problem and hopefully stop the further destruction of Haifa.
Bitra looks over to Iris, who is sitting behind y'all. She has a pad of paper and a pencil, brain, the graphite, basically pencil, and the scratching sound from the pencil and the paper stops, and Iris goes, "We haven't been able to use scrying magic in the vicinity of Haifa for some time. There is an excess of magic that overwhelms any attempt to scry in the area, and what they say is entirely reasonable. Where scrying works, the river flow is wrong. So if there are giant holes in the city, that may explain that." Bitra nods and looks catches your eyes and holds them for a few moments, Zari. She goes, "What resources could you use? We have mages, we have clerics, we have an army. What do you think would be best to help contain the situation?" She pauses. "The extent of the reach of the city of Volley has difficulty going that far upriver. I would need the king's support to be able to do that, because it would be extremely expensive to deploy a large number of people and there is a rumble in the ground." She pauses for just a moment and then resumes talking. To project force that far.
Well, I am no artificer, but I have tried my hand at some logistical planning, but I would assume one of the first steps would be to coordinate with Lord Julik to try to dam up the river to the west of Ava in order to staunch the flow of the river back towards Haifa. The city currently has a large quantity of iron dust in the air, which is causing a wild magic zone and the interference to scrying within the city limits.
There's a pointed look between Iris and Bitra and goes, a large amount of iron dust in the air, you say?
Yes.
Tell me more.
The cult and the cult, along with Commander Georgie of the city, we do not know who else potentially higher was part of this plot, but they had somehow found out that there was a large um, a a large
Another rumble, and you hear glasses tinking in the next room together as the floor shakes.
should we be concerned about that?
Bitra looks nonplussed, just straight, like not concerned, but definitely very guarded expression. Iris tilts her head. You guys all feel a massive jolt as the floor shifts a direction, and every light in this room is out. It is 100% pitch black. The floor is vibrating. None of your characters have ever experienced an earthquake. But if you personally have experienced an earthquake, this is a big one. Stuff is falling. You hear the sword clatter off of the wall. The desk, you can hear the screech of the feet as it is moving. Even if you have low light vision, you are unable to see, as low light vision does not grant vision in pure black darkness. And
I attempt to light a ball of flame in hand.
You attempt to cast the spell, and there is no effect. The air is filled with the smell of rot and brimstone. And then everything goes silent.
I'll try to light my lantern.
There's no issue. Your lantern lights up. You see Iris make a couple motions with her hand, attempting to cast the light spell. She casts once, it fails. She casts again, and it succeeds, but it is flickery and unstable. You are glad for the light, the steady light of your lantern, and there is a library against one wall that you guys didn't notice when you came into this room, where most every book is toppled down onto the floor or knocked over inside of the shelves. In the middle of the noise, you heard a crash of the drinks cart in the next room over, having fallen over and shattered glass. The wall behind the desk no longer shows a window. There is a simple barred door. Should be back up a step. There is a simple metal barred door in it, and Bitra, there are rings of wood on her desktop terminating in her fingertips, and she is breathing heavily. Rings of wood, as in like somebody took not a file, a plane, and curled up curls of wood that end at her fingertips, and she's looking around and goes, earthquakes are not usual here. What is going on? Why is the magic not working? And Iris stands up, casts light again, this time much more steady. And she holds the book that she had casted on over her head, and she goes, let me check the next room. Much of my magic isn't working correctly. And she heads back into the like waiting room.
Everybody okay?
They're not normal, but have they been more common recently?
This is the first earthquake I have experienced in Vali. So she looks every bit of 50 years old at this moment.
Well, I suppose the cult had found a large amount of iron underneath Haifa, and had been using the ritual in order to had intended the ritual in to excavate all of it at once. We were able to disrupt it enough by messing with the ritual totems in order to foil the full ritual and stop the complete destruction of the city and the excavation of the iron. Unfortunately, it was not enough, and it still partially went off.
Bitra nods, and Iris comes back into the room, looking very concerned, and says, the door is broken. It will be... I'm unable to fix it from this side, milady.
Broken how?
It's not there anymore. I don't know how technical you would like me to get. And she looks at Iberkeet. But the connection to the hallway no longer exists. The door is gone.
So we are stuck in an extra-dimensional space.
That is a clever assumption, but not entirely true. And Bitra rolls her eyes a little bit and goes, they are not coming through my private spaces. And Iris looks over at her and goes, they may not have much choice unless you would like them in your office for the next... Well, it depends on how bad the earthquake was. Days, weeks, months, year? It could be a year before we get the connection back up and running. And Bitra, like, jaw-clenched teeth, looks at Iris unhappily. Can I have an insight check from everybody, please? Okay. There's a deep sigh and the lights come back on in the room. And Richard goes, I don't suppose that fixed the door. Iris leaves the room again. Ooh. With a 15. Ibriki, I'm going to send you a message in Discord.
Yay.
Secret message.
Secret message.
The DM hands you a piece of paper.
Yes, I whisper to Ibriki something.
It says she is a dragon.
They
Understood.
good. Sorry, now Sadie has thrown me off.
Sorry.
So the lights come back on, and there's a heavy sigh from Beatrice and goes, well, I had only planned on giving you maybe an hour, but we very well may have more time than that. So, tell me the story. Start at the beginning. And we don't have to go through this entire story, but
yeah,
give me a sense of what you emphasize and what you hide. And what does everybody add from their own perspective, right?
I'll add the maps with all the ritual places and the bigger ritual symbol that was outside of the land.
Your maps are very good because right?
yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
With a couple of drawings and notes, like what the symbols looked like and what kinds of figurines we found.
Yeah.
And
okay.
how the shards looked.
About the time you're unfurling.
I also
go ahead.
I also wanna bring up that we couldn't leave the area safely with our marks at full power.
Oh yes, very important.
I detail out the involvement of Rowan the Fae, the wooden limes, and of course Georgie, and emphasize that Georgie had used demons disguised as guards to infiltrate the city, and they are still there now, unbound to any master, and that we do not know if Georgie or the Wooden Limes are still alive.
Yeah, we'll leave out any dragon stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just add, I think we have confirmation that 3 of the limes are dead.
Fair enough. Yep. You guys do have confirmation of that.
Yes.
So about the time that you are rolling the map out, Cryor, Iris has come back into the room, and as you're describing the layout of the things, and like the locations and the symbology, she takes one of the drawings and turns it over, traces it a little bit, and goes, there's not enough power here to, like, this is all well and good and honestly quite ingenious construction, but there's not enough here. Like, this would need the power of, you said there was a great deal of iron under the city. It would take a great deal of iron to power this.
Did anyone mention the elementals drawing runes way outside the city in the 150-year storm?
Yes. Cryor included those in the drawing.
That That would add to the effect, and
from what we understand, there was meant to be a powerful sacrifice of a magical being, and we believe that the Fey Rowan was used, but was not the optimal choice. We do not know what they intended to use.
Iris nods and looks thoughtful. And Bittred takes a heavy sigh and goes, I will consult with the king to see what resources can be made available. Lord Julik knows me well, and he knows that I command the most hardened of the city guard, or my unit of that I supply of soldiers is the most capable, I think, in the city. And so I may well be given leave to take them up. But I'm going to need, and no offense, Iris, but I'm going to need more magic than this. We need to learn more. And we need... Are there any goblins in the city? She looks over at Iris. And Iris tilts her head to the side, casts a spell, and then gives a nod. A crew of goblins would make the excavation work much easier.
And I'm not good at groundworks and stuff like that and how that works. I haven't studied that. But big holes in the ground and earthquakes might add up together.
Yeah. There's a rumble in the distance. The ground shakes a little bit. Something big happened nearby. And then she rolls her eyes again and goes, very well. I would take it as a personal favor to me, if you would be willing to close your eyes and be led by Iris out of my space.
I put my hand on the shoulders nearby of my friends and just look down.
All right.
Yeah, it seems fine to me.
Iris,
I have no problems with it.
Please take them. You know the way. And Iris nods at you.
I might close my eyes, but nose and ears are going overdrive.
Yes. And you hear the door at the back of the room open with a noticeable whine. And a cool... The air's starting to get a little stuffy in here. And a cool breeze, ocean breeze, comes into the room. And as you are led out of the office space, there is the feeling of a vast opening. Like, there's like a, there's a difference in feeling between when you walk in through like a hallway and when you walk out into a large open space. And you are led into this place. I would like perception checks with disadvantage, please. Because your eyes are... Oh my goodness, Lumi. Shut up.
Giggle, giggle.
And he rolled bad even as well.
Uh-huh. All right. So 11, 19, 7, and 10. I will send you a message, Lumi, over Discord. As soon as I find you in the list. Okay. There we go. Haha.
This whisper is sponsored by...
Dear Lord, if I had sponsors, that would be amazing. Okay. And you guys are led through this vast space, and then I guess a question is, does anybody try to open their eyes and look, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Head will probably snap upwards, so if Iris is paying attention, she might see me react to something, but I think Lumi will just successfully manage to keep his eyes shut.
Okay. You're led out of this large open space into a hallway with a wooden floor. You are unsure of the material of the floor in the large open space, but the hallway definitely has the echoes of a wooden floor and to a set of stairs. And as you approach it, Iris goes, careful now. The first step is a bit oddly sized, and it's like a half a step, so it's not quite the right tread height for a step, but after that, the stairs are relatively normal. And then...
I don't
go ahead.
use shoes, so...
The floor in the previous area was smooth, but not clean.
Okay.
Steps. Yeah, and then steps. And then after you guys go up about a flight and a half of stairs, Iris goes, we are exiting the personal spaces of Bitra. You may reopen your eyes and follow me. And a large door, a heavy door, opens in front of you. It is a very dark, thick wooden door. And I'm talking like 6 inches thick and probably 8 feet wide, all on one hanger, probably 10 feet tall. You think a large creature they'd have to duck, but could comfortably get through this door. And as you cross through it, the room opens and you have a glass paneled view, very similar to the scene that you saw in Bitra's office, but it is floor to ceiling glass, probably 25 feet wide, looking out over the bay of Volley. Then in this room there's like furniture that has toppled over. It looks like a entertaining space. There's like a harp in one side of the room that's leaning up against the wall. It probably would have fallen over if it had fallen the other direction, but it's leaning up against the wall. There's like pillars that had statues and stuff on them. Some of those statues have fallen and broken. Others of them have just fallen. The carpet is deep and luxurious, and Bitra, without apparent effort, closes the door behind you all. She goes, I guess welcome to my home.
I bow. Thank you very much.
I must go see the king, and that is much more difficult than it should be. If you will excuse my abrupt departure, we will have to converse again in the future. And she bows at you all and strides out of the room without waiting to see if you respond.
How do we get out? Oh, she's gone.
Iris just kind of chuckles in laughter. I'd like one more insight check, please, from everybody. Ooh.
Rolling trash.
Iberkeet, I will send you a message in Discord.
22.
All right. To do 22, yeah. Okay. And she goes, here, this way. I can lead you out. We're not far from the city walls, so it's a short trip back. Did you Milady is with the earthquake. She is needed in the city. Is there anything else you would like to let her know before I lead you back to the city and let you go?
We have one of Julik's servants here with us who has been trying to locate us a more permanent residence. So, if the government needs us again, we will probably be in that location. Other than that, is there anyone we can go to maybe help out with the earthquake? Because we are adventurers and civilly minded. We would like to help wherever we can.
To answer, or to let you, your assistant, servant, what have you, can send word to Bitra through either a guard or the city mail service about where you may be located. We will contact you there. And for me, and as far as the second goes, I don't know what's going on. I have not all of my usual access exists currently. The earthquake was bad. There will be buildings knocked over, and because they are not built for such things. As far as what you could do for the city, she thinks about it for a minute and then writes, flips to a new page of her journal and pulls out a ink quill pen and dips it into a apparent jar of ink that is just there suddenly and then is gone, and then writes a symbol onto the sheet of paper before tearing it out and handing it to you. And she goes, "This will, if you are questioned by the guard as you are helping, this is a warrant for activities within the city as a adventuring group. You probably would want to register yourselves with one of the guilds, though. There is one in each, or there's one in the North Ward and the Dock Ward and the Sea Ward. I will let it up to you which one you would prefer, but you will probably want to register yourself with one of the guilds." Oh, I'm gonna sneeze again. Until then, this will get you access to make sure that the guard knows that you running around with unsheathed weapons is not a thing to arrest you for.
All right, thank you.
About those weapons.
They're at the castle. I'm afraid that you will have to go back there to get them.
Okay. No problem. Thank you.
She kind of just shrugs. And she leads you out of the house. The house is extremely well appointed. You were on like a third floor, and wait, no, third. You were on a ground floor. But as you leave the house, you look back and there were 3 floors of like house here. It is this house here. And she as you guys leave the city, or as you guys leave the house, looking over the city, there are plumes of smoke dotted variously about the city, that were not there before. You can hear cries, like carrying in the wind, just kind of on the edge of hearing. Cries of like consternation and worry. And there is a bustle of activity at the city gate, where you see people like piling out of the city gate, heading up towards, like, just kind of heading up towards, this portion of town, just trying to get out of the city, basically.
Escaping the chaos.
Yeah, and there's a troop of like city guards that are coming. You see a whole troop. Actually, this would be army. Like a whole troop of like 50 or 60 men, marching down the road towards the city. They're probably 10 or 15 minutes at that pace away from the city itself. And after releasing you, you see Iris begin casting another spell as she heads back into the mansion, really, more than house.
So, order of business, get our weapon back and see what we can do to help when on the way to it.
I was thinking maybe I should do a shortcut and see if I can spot any citizens needing rescue by air.
Or maybe scout for the cause. Like if there's a big crater in the nearby or something.
I can loop widen and do both, sort of.
You can probably reach the the castle faster than we can, moving through all these people. So you can just grab all of our weapons and put them in the haversack and meet us back at the end, or come find us afterwards.
Do you think that they'd release all the gear to an owl or a crow, regardless of its size?
You can turn back into a person.
I think the best thing we can do is that we make headway to the castle where our weapons are, and we'll meet Lumi there. So once we get there, Lumi has enough time to gather information, because it's probably gonna take like an hour or 2, 3, if not longer.
I concur with Cryer's assessment. I feel I'm more valuable up high, where I can get literally bird's eye view on what's happening in the city.
Can I ask for a healer's kit? So if I see somebody actually wounded, I could actually help.
Yeah, I'll grab one of the ones in my backpack that I bought from the other group, and hand off to Cryer.
All right. So, as you take off, Lumi, and fly into and over the city, you find that gaining height is dead easy over the large, basically large fires that are, dumping heat into the sky, making large updrafts that give you easy access to the top of the city, or to height in the city. Hold on. Enter reminded me of a thing, and now I have to change it. I think that is correct now. Sorry, my brain. Yes, okay. And what you see is a city of. There's a large amount of destruction in the city. Many of the buildings have shifted or have damage, and there are a few of them that have toppled over completely, and a few of those that have toppled over completely are on fire. Yeah, you don't know if there was open flame, perhaps like a forge or something like that. But some of them have toppled over on fire. There are bucket chains of people who are attempting to at least contain fires that are organizing around them. You see a couple of temples with a person standing near the temple opening, like directing people around, either gathering in people who are injured into the temple or sending out people wearing priestly clothes into the city. In the canal ward, you see a large sinkhole that is rapidly filling with water, and one side of the sinkhole, so there's a sinkhole, there's like a whole section of the floor fell out, and you can see the bottom of it. That bottom of it is got a bunch of rubble in it, and that rubble's kind of acting to prevent the water that's flowing in from the nearby canal into the sinkhole itself, or it's holding the water and slowly filling up, and then in one portion of that there is a much deeper hole that the water is then cascading over the edge of, falling in far below. the rest of you, so you fly your way over the city and then land near the castle gate, where you guys were first led into the actual castle. This takes, between catching some updrafts and looking around, maybe 20 minutes of flight time before you're actually able to, like, before you land nearby the castle. The rest of you, upon arriving at the gate, you feel like trout or salmon swimming up against a tide of people. There are injured who are holding injuries as they're hobbling their way out, broken arms, gashes of various natures, heads or arms or legs. Some people with broken legs being carried. And the biggest thing that you notice is that after leaving the city, nobody gets near a building. They find a place that is separate from buildings to, like, lay the injured down, to people start, helping them out. With a large Zari in front and a presence of armored, if not armed, personages, you guys are relatively well able to flow your way in through the gates. The guards at the city gates here are less interested in, like, people control and more interested on making sure that, like, there isn't a clot of people that builds up in front of a door and lets people get crushed. And
No crush.
yeah, they're trying to make sure people, like, there's not a crush of people, and that people who have injuries, like, if somebody falls down, like, they'll go out, wade out into the crowd and help them stand back up, or help get them out of the flow of people. They're trying to save as many lives as they can. How effective they are being, they're just human. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people attempting to flee through this one gate. And you are in the city, and you see damaged buildings. Not every building is damaged, but many of them are. And you can see the plumes of smoke in the distance of burning buildings.
I'll take the lead a little bit. Just, like a sheep herder's dog sprints easily over sheeps. Just to see if we have a clear path to where we need to go.
Once you are
Like-
clear of the gate's immediate area, the streets are not... People are more walking around in a daze, or, like, there's a scene of a woman with a couple of children clutching to her side, who is screaming at her husband to that it's just stuff, leave it in the house, just leave it, don't go back in there, as her husband is, like, going inside of a building and hauling out things valuable to him. Maybe it's hard to know, but it's he has a gash on his forehead as if he was struck in the head by something, and kind of that concussed look, and he is just focused on going inside of this slightly damaged but still damaged house. And every time he comes back out, his wife is just pleading with him to stay, and he turns around and walks back into the house.
How far is it from me?
Oh, just up the street. 50,
I'll-
50
I'll-
feet, 20 feet.
Yeah, I'll just go to him, sit him down if he wants to. Let's be.
He he struggles against you. Like, he's not trying to punch you or anything like that, but he's trying to move past you as if you are like standing in his way. And he's just muttering under his breath, like, I got it. And he's just struggling against you. Give me an opposed strength check.
Oh, Ray. Strengths.
Beat
Can
a
it
7.
be a athletics?
Strength athletics. Oh yeah. You're like every move that he makes, you redirect him. So he isn't 100% there. About this time, the rest of you are catching up with Cryor. He's definitely not 100% there, and no matter what you do, he's always trying to get back into like the house, but you've stopped him from actually going in at this point. And
I'll try to tend to his head wound and, flash his face with a little bit of cold water.
give me a medicine check. Medicine? Whatever it is. Whatever that skill is. Yeah, medicine. 17. With a little bit of help of your friends and the man's wife, you're able to bring him up out of it. He is still dazed, but he's no longer fighting you. And he's just kind of staring at his house anymore. And his kids are like wrapped around him crying, and his wife is like giving you a huge hug, and just thank you.
I push the wife away and put the husband in front.
She nods and goes back to holding him, and he's just kind of staring.
Get to a safe place. City guards will help you after, I hope.
She nods and kind of goes, "Come on, dear. Come on. It's fine. You can. It'll be fine. Just right there. Come on." And she kind of lifts him up, not like herself, like bodily, but like, lifts up an elbow and gets him to his feet and starts leading him away from this place. Meanwhile, the kids are just wailing, as kids do when they're worried about their parents.
Or are in panic.
Or kind of panicked, yeah.
Well, let's continue to the castle gates.
They're every 100 feet. There is a scene not exactly like this, but similar. You see a scene of people trying to organize a bucket chain without enough buckets. There is a scene of somebody desperately digging in the rubble of just stones. It just looked like a pile of stone brick fallen in, and screaming a name so harshly that he can't be understood, but the man is just literally lifting 100-pound stones and throwing them into the street in an effort to dig, his hands bloodied and raw. And there's the quiet desperation of a family as they watch their home and shop burn to the ground, as several people try to comfort them, and just that open blank look on their face as their life burns before them. And you guys arrive at the castle ward, and the castle ward's gates are barred. Lumi, you are at the castle gate. Still in bird form, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't land until the others arrive, so I'm just hovering, flying back and forth.
Okay. So you see,
Maybe using an opportunity to grab someone out of a second-story window, and put on the ground.
are you a large bird?
Yeah.
Oh, well. There's definitely some worry as you're flying overhead. Are you like a rock or a giant eagle or what?
Giant owl.
Giant owl. Okay. So there's definitely some if you approach the castle at all, there's definitely some like pointed words and arrows pointed at you. So I'm assuming you avoid that. But there's definitely some opportunities for you to like pluck somebody off of the roof and set them onto the ground and that sort of thing. And in the distance, as you're like doing this and flying overhead, you see your friends arriving at the castle ward gate here. There are guards along the roof that are looking both inward and outward, not really looking up at you. And the gates themselves are barred, and not guarded from the outside, but definitely like closed.
Zari walks up and knocks on the gate.
There is you see one of the guards peering over the gate wall down at you. But there's no real response from inside, and the guard just kind of he doesn't call out to you at all, but definitely looks down at you, watches the streets, looks around, and then looks back at you, making sure you're not like trying to force the gate or something, but not like responding in any real way to you.
I hold up the paper that has the warrant of adventuring group on it, up like towards him. He probably can't see it very well, but
No, it's like a 30-40 foot high wall, so it's a bit of a distance. Give me persuasion, please, as you try to get his attention and get him something to do, get him to do something that you would like.
so I'm basically going to say like, we were visiting with one of the counselors when the magic failed, and were let out of her personal residence, and we would like to come back in to get our stuff.
Okay, give me a persuasion roll. 17. That's you have the guard's attention, and she looks down at you, looks you over. I was ordered to keep the gate closed to prevent rioters from entering the castle ward.
Woo, woo, woo.
Dear gods in the heavens!
As I soundlessly come into land behind the other people and reverting to my human.
Oh, Druid.
Self.
Okay. Druid, that makes way more sense. Okay. What proof?
Zari curse. Zari mumbles some curses under her breath because that's not how people act in times of crisis. But okay.
Huh? Wait a minute. GM's confused. But anyway, continue. She goes, What proof have you that you are from the that you came from the castle ward?
We have a warrants. We have a warrant of permission to be an adventuring group written by the counselor's assistant.
And there's a pause as she thinks to herself, and seeing like there's not a crowd of people here, and she was told to bar the gates from riots. Then you see her go inside of the gate house at the top, and after a couple minutes, there's a noise at the sally door of the gate, and it opens outward towards you, and you see her standing at the gate, and she goes, "Can I see it?"
I show it to her.
She looks it over. She nods. She hands it back. All right, come on in. Be warned. There's dangerous buildings, and with the shaking of the ground, nobody's sure which buildings might collapse next. But good luck at the castle. She opens.
Thank you.
She opens the gate just long enough to let you all in, closes it and rebars it, and then heads back up inside of the castle, inside of the tower, back up to her post. This ward of the city, the response is much more organized. Instead of random citizens doing a lot of the work, you see organized patrols of guards helping to set up. There are bucket chains here which have mostly doused at least one of the buildings. There is in the distance, you see a couple of magic users levitating stones off of a building site and placing them carefully off to the side as a onlooker looks on concerned. You see a small like tent going up, and several people wearing hold on, nope, wrong tool, that's the right tool, haha. I need to know which god it is. DD. I am bad at remembering names of things. That one, haha. So several priests wearing the colors and finery of Yakit, like healing people as they come by, like touching wounds, and you can see the wounds closing. And you guys make your way. You see a group of like engineering like people like setting up bracing to keep a leaning building from leaning any further in the direction that it leans. And you guys make your way back to the castle wall itself. And the gates on the castle, the sally gates on the castle are open, and there is a constant stream of people going in and leaving the castle. Very, very organized. A group of 4 or 5 people heading out with a definite plan in mind, or the look on their face of like a plan in mind. People bearing stretchers of those who cannot walk being carted back into the castle. Inside of the castle, the main castle area, you can see in the distance the castle itself is unharmed, and you can see like field tents, I guess you'd call them, like tents that have like posts on the corner and a post in the middle, but don't have any tarp on the side, so it's just like a roof over a head, like being set up and stretchers being laid underneath them. And as you guys approach the castle, the guards that are there like stop you because you are unknown to them, and goes, how may I help? He looks you over, and you do not appear to be injured.
And I explained the whole thing of, we were visiting with a counselor, the 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 portal stopped working, we had to leave via her personal residence, and we came back here to get our stuff that we left.
He nods. Yes. Lights of Miiva.
Yes.
We have word ahead. If you'd follow me.
Following.
All right, you guys are led into a side room, and all of your equipment that you left is placed out on a table. There's 3 more piles of, I don't want to say similar equipment, but definitely like, you were not the only group here. You were not the only person. You were not the only set of people who were asked to surrender their weapons here today.
If I do a cursory glance across it, does any of the gear give me an indication if they are adventurers like us, or just guards, or kind of what kind of profession they might have had?
Definitely more akin to adventurers like you. So not like uniform, like, it's a short sword and a long sword and longbow, and like it's like, maybe this is the weapons from one very well equipped person, or maybe it's the weapons from 3 or 4 adventurers, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But there's like 2 or 3 other piles of goods. But you guys recognize your own equipment pretty handily. And it appears to be all there.
I put the equipment back where it's supposed to be.
After you guys re-equip, the guard leads you back outside of the castle and goes, good luck, stay safe. Hopefully the chaos dies down soon. I've never experienced an earthshake like that before. Thankfully, the castle walls are tough.
Is the way to the seaward still good?
As far as I am aware, the bridges still stand. I have not been informed of any damage to the bridges or to the dam.
Well, I guess we should look for a butler then. I never had a butler.
As you guys head out, it's been a number of hours at this point since the earthquake. Between the conversation with Bitra and just working your way through town, there are still smoke pillars, but there are fewer of them. And as you guys walk down towards the seaward, you are unmolested, and it's definitely, the castle ward definitely has the least amount of traffic that you've run into, and the buildings themselves survived the survived the earthquake much better than the northward buildings that you came through to get here. There's very few of them that are complete rubble. Most of them have some apparent damage of like you can tell that like the top floor shifted over a couple inches and left cracks in the lower floors, or building might be leaning a little bit, having sunken in on one side when the earth settled underneath it from the earthquake. But otherwise, much better condition. And the bridge that you guys get to and walk across is unbothered by, like, it is apparently unbothered by the shaking. The pillars that hold it up in the middle, the pillars at each end seem to have been the stable. They weren't like moved at all by the shaking. And as you cross into the sea ward, you see that the buildings here, similar to the castle ward, tended to hold up fairly well. There's a couple more of them that have fallen in, and there's one of the larger buildings, say around here, is like a 50-foot tall conflagration, and every once in a while you see people like half-heartedly attempting to throw water at it, but mostly at this point there are just a few mages who are like spraying nearby or spreading water over nearby buildings to prevent them from catching fire as this building energetically burns. And you guys, it's now late afternoon, evening, and Oscar had let you know that to meet him at the Color Animal Inn, to let you know how he made out. Or you guys have the city.
So,
In Lumia's ears, Color Animal in for a good strong whiskey or something sounds splendid at the moment.
I feel like getting involved would just get us in the way without coordination, so I tend to agree.
I have been eyeing the opportunities to get Big Zari a chance to help, but I have not seen many, and I do not waste spell slots on just one thing. So
You guys make your way back to the Color Animal Inn. The building itself is fine. It looks to have survived the earthquake without any apparent damage to the outside of the building. The barkeep and the waitresses and like there's just a mill of people standing out in the street, kind of looking at each other, looking at themselves like worried, and like chatting in low voices to themselves. And heading into the Color Animal Inn, the place is deserted. And the innkeeper, the barkeep, like kind of goes, yeah, as you walk past and head inside.
Oh, they stand outside?
Yeah, they were all outside.
Well, then we stay outside as well, I guess.
nah, not Lumi. Just moseying on it to see if there's a fireplace you can boil water on.
The inside is empty of people and a wreck. Like things toppled over, like the top shelf whiskey or the top shelf liquor at the bar is all floor shelf glass shards. Um, like the bar itself has shifted from its normal position. There is like over doorways, there's great cracks in the wall that lead up to the ceiling. It's not like you can see the crack. It's not like open cracks, like half-inch wide open cracks, but it's just like you can see where the wall was damaged and cracked, and now it's closed again. And quiet.
Oh, good. Some quiet.
No sign of
No sign of Oscar.
Oscar. Okay.
After a couple minutes of after you guys headed in, the barkeep peeks through the door, looks at you, goes, "Is it safe?"
Could we get a round of drinks, please?
Doesn't look like the building's gonna fall on our heads. If that's what you're worried about.
He's got a like giant welt lump on the kind of side top of his head, and he goes, "Are you sure it's safe?"
No.
Why don't you come in and let me look at that bump on your head? See if I can tend to it.
He comes in. The waiters and waitresses kind of timidly follow after. Couple of patrons like start moving and setting back up furniture. And he sits down in a chair, kind of in the middle of the room near you, and just he's looking at the where the shelves had spirits at some point in the past, just kind of worried.
I'll go into first aid / medic mode, just making sure that any bumps or bruises aren't dangerous,
Okay.
like concussion level dangerous or whatnot, and just probably start casually fishing for a cup of whiskey and a tea.
So give me medicine check. Oh yeah. He doesn't have anything life threatening. I'm gonna sneeze. Like his injury isn't life threatening by any means. It's just he got hit on the top of the head by something falling from above him pretty hard. You're actually a little surprised to see him conscious, the size of the welt. But after a little bit, he's like, well, the good stuff is on the floor, but give me a minute and I'll get you something. Oh man, that feels better. I don't know what you did. He blinks a few times. But here. And he pulls out a bottle of it's not whiskey, it's more akin to clear liquor, British gin. Yeah. Pulls out a bottle of gin and goes, this is what I got that's not broken and decent.
Smell it. Ooh, that'll go good with one of those import teas.
It is heavily smells of, it's not cedar, it's that the green, evergreen tree that they use to flavor gin. That completely escapes my brain. Like
Pine.
yeah, whatever it is, it's very heavily that.
I only know that a gin and tonic tastes the same as a Christmas tree smells.
Yeah, basically, this is very much Christmas tree.
I'm gonna use one of my more expensive import teas and make a spicy tea.
Right. It's you guys set up. They appear to have no interest in lighting a fire, but they allow you to light one in order to make your tea. And a couple hours later, Oscar comes in looking very smoky, as in he smells of wood fire. His clothes are covered with soot and ash. His hair is a bit frazzled, and he works his way over to you guys and sits down heavily, takes the bottle of gin and pours himself a glass and throws it back. And then realizes what he's done and apologizes and stands back up.
Lumi will look him up and down thrice. Just nah. Sit.
Thanks. It's been a day. I think I have a place. It's mostly standing. Pretty sure we'll be able to get it at a discount, assuming the landlord is still alive.
Which reminds me, and Lumi will get up and attempt to cast mending on one of the cracks in one of the doorways.
You pop it into chat if you don't mind. I'm going to read the actual spell. In an object you touch, no larger than 1 foot in any dimension, it's less than that. You mend it, leaving no trace of the former damage. Yeah, you mend the crack in the door, or above the door.
And then just muse to myself, very fixable. Before I sit back down and half pass out due to the semi-PTSD occurrence got one in bird form.
Right. Oscar looks at the bottle on the table, and then at you guys, and goes, is the bottle ours? Yours?
Think so. Hey, barkeep, what do I owe you for the bottle?
The barkeep looks over and goes, 2 more of those fixes. He points up at the door crack that was there.
Give me an hour and I'll do some more fixing for you.
He's currently like
Cantrip, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. He's currently like mopping up broken glassware and goes, "Yeah, thanks. Whatever you can find behind the bar, if you keep the building from falling in, you can have it. That I can replenish." Oh man, that was a good vintage. He throws the top half of a bottle away. You're not sure why he's talking about vintage with a bottle of like whiskey, but you know.
It may be a cantrip, but I doubt you guys noticed what I noticed. I got some heavy emotional flashback from way back when we lost Miiva the first time.
I hardly remember anything from it.
The temples around here had there are priests standing outside, directing people running away the one way, and people sent to try and help the other way, and it hit a bit hard to close to home.
The chaos. That's all I remember, I think. It's chaos.
A little bit wobbly, Oscar stands up, goes, if you'd follow me, I'll lead you to the place.
I have some more repairs to do here before we go.
Okay, and he flops back into his chair.
And Lumi will go into a half-hour mending spree throughout the color animal inn.
You're able to repair a large amount of the damage. You're like able to put like a chair back together, similar to that, but some of the larger like damage to the walls, just too large for a cantrip to take care of. But
I repaired the plaster, but the crack is still there.
Yeah, but with a half an hour, you're able to do pretty good work. And about that time, the guy is finished sweeping up the broken glass, and he's got it piled into like a bucket to be taken out. That one of the the waiters or waitresses like carry out to the back of the building to throw into whatever trash pile they have. And he's got a bucket of water, and he's sopping up the like spilled spirits. And he's like, he looks on you grateful and sets a couple more bottles out onto the thing. One is a like mixer quality whiskey. Like it's like Jack Daniels, you know. It's whiskey for sure, but it's not what anybody would call high quality. It's what college aged people drink. It's cheap because it's cheap and gets them drunk, and that isn't just straight, you know, ethanol, right?
Yep, I know the sort.
And a bottle of what is labeled as Red Dragon Firewater. And it's got one of those labels on it that somebody spent a fair amount of money to have like a printing press magically create. It's like iridescent and like a sticker applied to the exterior of the bottle, and it's a little holographic. Like this is like a liter bottle, so it's a pretty good sized bottle, right? And as you turn the bottle back and forth, the like head of the dragon, it's got one of those holographic things where the head of the dragon goes down, and the little fire, kind of see the little fire come out of it, and you turn it back and the head of the dragon is back up, and you see like smoke curling up out of the nose.
The Ferriphobe version of the lenticular effect.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's magical, so it's really easy. But yeah, exactly that. And the bottle has been opened, and there's like 2, maybe 3 fingers that have been poured out of this at some point in the past. And if you open it up, the only scent that the surviving neurons in your nose are able to discern is cinnamon. But that's because the rest of your nostril have given up in pure like nostril nerves have like given up in pure like surrender, unable to comprehend what in the world this smell is.
a small part of my brain nose says cinnamon. The rest of it says, "Huh."
Yeah, exactly. And the bartender's like, thanks. We'll be open tomorrow. I don't think we're gonna really be open tonight.
See if we can find time to stop by. Full itinerary and all that. Right, Oscar, let's go. And I cast Healing Word.
Oscar stands up, is much more steady on his feet after being healing worded, and like gathers up the now half empty bottle of gin and goes, all right, follow me, and heads out into the evening. Heading towards the edge of the sea ward and then out into the trade ward. At this time, there are people in the streets. Nobody seems to want to risk being in a building. The streets are full, but not of activity. They are full of people avoiding being in buildings. And I would like everybody to make a perception check, please. So 16, 7, 10.
Holy dog shit on perception.
17. So Lumi, yes, 16 with an 11 plus. Wow. With a 16 and a 17, you both notice that there are opportunists working their way through the people. A pickpocket here, a or there, like somebody that sort of thing. Like not straight up mugging people, but definitely like people are a little dazed and confused, and they're standing out in the street not doing anything. And so the predators of the masses are working their trade. Oscar doesn't seem to notice and leads you guys deeper into the trade ward, to a smaller building just over here.
Sorry, doesn't share that.
As Zari is moving through the crowd, she suddenly veers off and goes up to one of these people, stopping him before he pulls out before he pickpockets his next victim, and be like, "Is this really what you should be doing right now?"
This is like a 15-year-old boy, like less than half your sized. And as you grab a hold of him, he weighs almost nothing. And it's oh shit, and just like arms up, drops out of his cloak, lands heavily on his butt, and there's just like coins and jewelry and stuff go kind of scattered around, and he just ducks between legs and tries to flee.
Can I try to grab him?
Give me attack. Give me just a straight attack roll.
Let's see if I can't find unarmed strike.
Yeah. Oh, it like he drops out of his cloak, and as he's going to like flee, it is a palm full of like you grab him by the back of the neck and just woman handle him back onto his feet. There's bits and bobs kind of scattered all over. Your hand is holding his cloak. Your other hand is holding his cloak, and you have him firmly in grasp.
Reese just swoops in and starts picking up all the other stuff.
I'm sure she absolutely does. At which point, hey, that's my, and she's like grudgingly hands people their stuff back. Maybe pocketing some money for herself, but like it's Risha.
Yep. She keeps the loose coins.
Exactly. I didn't mean nothing by it, miss. Boys just gotta survive. You know how it is. Don't kill me, please.
There's a lot of people trying to survive right now.
People
Tell
are
you what,
noticing,
kid.
like, hey, he took my. And there's just an angry crowd growing up around you.
Tell you what, kid. Up north, there are bucket lines missing people. Might be a good place to volunteer for some actual good work instead of pilfering.
Got it. Good work. Right. Bucket lines north. Yep. Sounds. I'm
And
a changed man.
I go that way and actually point north.
He can't turn his head that direction very well because Zari's got him by the back of the neck, and he like isn't got a whole lot of control over which way his neck's facing.
Nobody can see which way I'm pointing.
He's like, "Yep, got it." And about that time, Zari guard claps him on the shoulder and goes, "I know this one."
Oh, he just volunteered to help with the bucket line.
Yes, he did. And like takes him by the elbow, and like the kid can't walk. He almost has to skip. So the guard goes, right on this way, Jack. And follow me. I didn't mean nothing by it. I just gotta live, he says. Obviously, to the guard has heard this spiel from this person before. And a couple of the townspeople like, thanks, ma'am. Don't know why they gotta be like that. Hey, do you think my house is safe? And points to a obviously leaning against the next building over house.
I would try to avoid that tonight. I think there was I think I saw a temple setting up a soup kitchen a ways back that way. They should have some food for you and maybe give you a pallet to sleep on tonight. I would go there. Try to find as many of your neighbors as you can. This is a time for everyone to help each other.
Take inspiration if you don't have it, as people hear your words and like it inspires them to not just sit in the street. And people start like organizing and heading in the direction you pointed. People start talking to each other, and the streets start clearing out a little bit. And you guys eventually make your way to it's a detached house. It's relatively small, 2 stories. There is a large burn scar on it, as the next building over appears to have been a forge or a blacksmith's place that is just a shell. But this building has been saved. It is mostly upright. And Oscar says, have the key to the door. I was actually just done talking to the landlord. And he had just gone off, and I was going inside when the earthquake hit, and I helped with the fire. Unfortunately, we weren't able to save that building, but we saved this one. I haven't seen the landlord since, though, so hopefully he's okay. But there is a stove, and he leads you guys in. Stove in this room. There's no food in the refrigerator, but there is cold storage for food. Magical cold storage for food. Over here, upstairs, there's 2 bedrooms, but pretty easy to like empty out space in the 3rd room up there. We could make it into a bedroom as well. There's a seating area, like a living room type area on the ground floor, along with a this is close enough to the canal that they have working wastewater, so that that's much more pleasant than an outhouse. How Leaning Tower of Pisa does the house look? It is this house itself is relatively, at least at this time of day, it's not leaned over. It's got a big burn scar on one side. Looks like the roof has probably been damaged by the fire. But it appears to be relatively straight. There are cracks running through plaster, some of them small enough for mending to take care of, some of them definitely too big for mending to take care of. But short of being a structural engineer, the place at least looks like it'll stand for a while.
No few of the pretty ships.
Those are more expensive.
No, it's fine, Oscar. You did great.
Thanks. I'm gonna start looking for I'm going to start my look for Tiasa tomorrow. If you guys need anything from me in the city, just let me know in the morning before I head out. But we have this place for at least a month. It depends on how long, whether or not the landlord comes back and says we don't have it for longer than a month, or if we need to pay him rent more. Have you guys ever been through something like that before?
No.
Okay.
The chaos, yes, but not the earthquake.
I've never been through the chaos even. The closest to chaos I have been through was when the monsters rained from the sky.
Well, we've been through both the thing with the chaos in the sky, and some of us remember it more clearly than others, but we've experienced a temple just going bakum.
Well, I'll take a spot on the floor of one of the bedrooms. And he takes a deep breath. Oh, right. Biggest selling point. There's a bath. It's not a very big bath, but it is connected to plumbing. Theoretically hot and cold running plumbing.
There was Risha.
Risha, you hear a shout of joy from the other room as Risha yells, "The hot water still works!" And Oscar kind of heavily sighs and goes, "I was gonna take the bath will open up eventually. I'm gonna go lay down.
Hour or two, 3. And we'll fix you a bed. You don't have to sleep on the floor.
Good night, sirs, madams. Sirs and madams?
Don't call me sir, please.
Right. I can see this building could do some light fixing as well. And Lumi just goes into a half zombified mending routine on whatever he can find to occupy his mind.
I'm gonna take notes of today, what happened. As close I can get with time as well. Like when the earthquake quaked, probably in an hour accuracy.
Right. You don't have the, what is it? It's not alertness. There's a feat that like
Keen mind.
keen mind. Yeah, you like always know
No.
the time of day and whatever.
Nope.
Yeah. So an hour, absolutely.
Just see if I can find correlations later. But documenting stuff. Important knowledge.
As the evening goes on, every once in a while, another rumble of an aftershock hits the town. Nothing nearly as strong as even like the first main earthquake that hit. But every time there's an aftershock, you hear like panic screaming in the streets. People just scared. But the magic of the lights of this building hold up. The night passes without further incident. And it is the day, it'd be the day of the 12th. And you guys wake up. You guys wake up in the morning. Looking out into the street from here, you can see that like outside of buildings that look particularly damaged, there are people setting up like tarps and tents and things to like cover so that they can be near their building without actually going inside of it. There are definitely some of the buildings that look less damaged that people are moving possessions back into the building. And it's relatively quiet. Oscar gets up and heads out at the absolute crack of dawn and comes back with a couple of bags of goods, and it's not long before you smell cooking bacon and eggs in the kitchen.
Then I'll head down.
Good morning. And he stops himself from saying sir and goes, bacon is done. I'll have the eggs done in just a few moments. Scrambled, okay, because that's the only option.
No problem. Any news?
I haven't found Tiasi yet, if that's what you're asking.
How's the city looking?
The food is expensive, and the people are in the streets avoiding being inside of buildings. Worried. I think worried fits.
Tell us when we need to chip in on the funds.
I've still got a couple of weeks worth of food at least, and the building is paid for the month, so no need to yet. I will endeavor to have breakfast and supper for you here.
Yeah, if it's not needed, we'll give a heads up.
He nods and loads you up with a plate of scrambled eggs and bacon.
And yeah, we'll do our efforts to find her as well, of course.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I find, if anything, at the end of each day, assuming
And
you're around.
yeah, I heard of a device, but I don't think they're really cheap. There's like a stone or something where you can keep contact with another person that has an other pair of that stone.
Ascending stone?
That might be it.
I don't have one of
Maybe,
those.
yeah, maybe if you can find one of those, it could be easier for us to keep in contact during the day.
That seems like a good idea. I will see if I can find a pair. Oh, good morning, Val. Here, and he hands Valeric, or not Valeric,
Yeah.
Elros. He hands Elros a plate of bacon and eggs. Let's let everybody know, when they're up, that here's the food, and I'm gonna head out soon, and he's got portioned out for each of you, and he heads out the door.
And I'll yell at him, well, see if the owner is okay.
Nods as he's exiting.
So we have to find the girl in the city of ruins.
Wait for information from the counselor. And
Also,
we should probably try to find one of the adventuring guilds that she talked about and register with that. Maybe even visit the nomads. They have probably already started their they have probably already started helping the people in the city after the earthquake. We're good about that sort of thing.
yeah, and I don't think tents will crumble.
It's more about providing people with food and shelter. It's
True. But most of their infrastructure is still standing.
yeah.
All right. We will go ahead and end it there at breakfast on the 12th of Emerald. So, thank you to the players for playing. Thank you to everybody for watching. It has been great having you here. Oh, we'll be back again in two... Oh, I better double check that. So 2 weeks will be the 12th. Yeah, should be back again in 2 weeks for more of this. Hope to see you all then. Thank you everybody for watching. It's been great having you here. Bye.